of British boxing. Box Nation, in association with Haymaker Boxing, sponsored by The Sun, in association with Raynham Steel, proudly presents 12 3-minute rounds for the vacant WBO International Middleweight Championship, live from Upton Park here in London and exclusive in the UK on Box Nation. Your officials were appointed by the World Boxing Association, whose president is Mr. Francisco Pacal Valcasel of Puerto Rico. Your 3 scoring judges at ringside are Mr. John Coyle of England, Zoltan Enyidi of Hungary, and Mr. Mickey Van of England. Your WBO supervisor is Mr. John Duggan of the USA. Your timekeeper at the bell is Comte Carlo from Luxembourg. And when the action begins, your referee in charge is Mr. Paul Thomas of England. And now to introduce the contestants. Firstly, in the red corner, with an unbeaten record of 14 wins, with 9 knockouts to his name. At yesterday's weigh-in, heat scaled 11 stone, 4 pounds, 10 ounces. And tonight wears the green shorts. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting and introducing from Cork in the Republic of Ireland, Gary O'Sullivan! And across the ring, in the blue corner, stands a former Commonwealth champion. He brings with him a record of 24 wins, 5 losses, with 16 knockouts to his name. At yesterday's weigh-in, heat scaled 11 stone, 4 pounds, 2 ounces, and tonight wears the red, white and green shorts. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome from Manchester, Matthew Hall. Your referee will now give his final instructions to both boxers.
Mike, listen boys, give me a good clean fight. Okay, we've spoken in the dressing room already. You know what I expect of you. Keep your shots in the target area. Watch no shots around the back, nothing in the kidneys. Remember to defend yourselves at all times, unless I shout stop boxing. Touch gloves.
12 3-minute rounds for the vacant WBO International Middleweight Championship.
Well, good evening to you on what promises to be a tremendous evening of boxing action, and this looks like on paper a decent fight to start off, Paul.
It does, John. It looks tasty. You can see a little bit of needle just before the fight. You know, Matthew Hall doesn't stand for no messing around. He's as game as they come. He's been around for a long time now, and we know everything that he's got. And O'Sullivan walked over to him, tried to put it on him a little bit. You know, Hall was telling him how it was going to be, and the top come off, and that was it.
O'Sullivan from Cork, undefeated, as you heard from Mark Burdis. And Matthew Hall, he seems to have been around an awful long time now. He's only 28 years old, turned pro as soon as he was turned 18. And he's been a busy fighter. Not quite, I don't think, fulfilled his own expectations as a fighter. It looked as though he was going to go all the way at one stage. And he just, truth be told, come up a little bit short. But he's always entertaining, always good to watch.
Yeah, 100%. That's what you get with Matthew Hall. What you see is what you get. He'll tell you he'll come for the tear-up, and he'll give you exactly what he says. And well, you know, he's got high standards himself, and he's always said if he's not going to do it at a decent level, he won't do it at all. And I like that about him. He's always done that, and he's always stuck by his word.
Gary O'Sullivan, who must be a live contender for the man with the most impressive moustache in boxing, took this at short notice. And Pascal Collins, his trainer, of course, younger brother of Steve, he said this is just a great opportunity for him. He can showcase himself if he comes through this.
It's a massive stage. It's a big open arena stadium. Obviously, it's a big event. It's probably the biggest event of the year so far. He's an unbeaten kid, and it's not normally the way unbeaten kids taking things at last minute and short notice. But fair play to him. He's took it, and he knows who he's against in Matthew Hall. So he must be a game kid himself.
The old amateur boxing scene over in Ireland, of course, very, very buoyant. And Gary O'Sullivan, he had over 100 amateur bouts, started at the age of 5, won the All-Ireland title. But plans changed a little bit when he became a dad at just 19 years old. He's got 3 kids now, and this very happily and healthily augments his earnings as a sheet metal worker. Won the Irish title, this for the vacant WBO European title, won the Irish title, beating Kieran Healy. Did you see that one?
I watched it, yeah. I seen him. He won on points, and they showed the repeat of it recently as well, which is what I watched. You know, he was in control all the way through, and Kieran Healy's usually pretty tough and durable, and took him the distance, and a good win for the Irish middleweight title. Not much ground given with them so far, though, John. They're both happy to come in and meet in the middle and trade off.
It's a nice little bit of work from O'Sullivan. It's got the makings, this one. It's a lively opening round.
Yep, it is. As you say, you know, the both of them don't. Well, I know Matthew Hall doesn't really like taking too many steps back, and he likes getting involved and getting stuck in. And you know, O'Sullivan's coming out and meeting him and happily obliging.
Well, all the time, the big stadium here is filling up. And so much interest, of course, about the big one coming up. David Haye, Derek Chisora. And you can see the crowds growing here. And here are the fighters arriving. Here's David Haye. And the fans in the arena here are seeing the pictures that you're seeing, and a few cheers as David Haye makes his way in. What have you made of his manner so far in the run-up to this?
For me, he's looked like, you know, lethargic and not too interested as he usually is, you know. But maybe, as a few people have mentioned, and as a lot of reporters have mentioned in the past, he's dug a big hole for himself, you know, the decapitation stuff, what he's going to do, and he's going to come out and have an all-out war, and then he stood off and boxed and outsmarted the opponent for 12 rounds. And listen, I'm all for it. Whatever wins your titles, you box to your advantages, but you can't really tell people you're going to come out and have a war and then stand back and outbox people. So maybe he's just playing it down now this time, and hopefully we'll come out and produce the explosive fight that we want.
Let's hope so. I've been asked about the whys and wherefores of this event tonight, this fight tonight, so many times. I'll tell you what, quite emphatically, it is a major event. As a commentator, that's where you want to be.
Definitely. It's huge. It's a massive event, and everyone's talking about it.
Matthew Hall, as ever, trying to roll his way in. His hero, Mike Tyson, aped the style.
You just, if you could pick any fighter to say who did he used to watch, you'd know it'd be Mike Tyson the way he is. He tries his best to get underneath, but what Matthew's got, what Mike Tyson also had, what a lot of people didn't think he had, is a good jab. He's got a very good jab.
Lost that fight back in April at the Albert Hall, wasn't it? It's a split decision against Sam Webb, and I think that must have hurt him. I think he perhaps thought that he'd done enough there. It was a tight one, wasn't it?
It was very tight, and some of the rounds were very hard to score. You know, we were giving rounds here and there, some to Matthew and some to Sam, and it was a tough fight to score. And Matthew was a bit dejected after it. You know, you could see he was down, and it hurt him, and rightly so. You know, it was a very good fight, and he gave everything he had. But that's what Matthew Hall does. Every fight, he'll give you every last ounce that he's got, and he's great value for money.
There's a lot of leather being thrown by both men here. Close opening round, and close this second one as well.
Yep, very close.
Judges scoring it at ringside. Nice to see Paul Thomas back in there refereeing, a familiar figure for many a year. Now retired as a British referee, but still refereeing regularly around Europe. Mickey Van's been in action here tonight as well.
Good shot from Hall.
So your brother on the far side of the ring.
He gets everywhere. He's never bought a ticket in his life either.
If you're wondering about Spike, that's Gary O'Sullivan's nickname. Well, who did you give the first round to? This is a tight one as well.
It is. I entered towards Matthew Hall, and this round so far for me is a whole round again so far. He's just landing with the better shots. You know, there's a good volume from both of them, but Hall's having a bit more success. Don't get me wrong, O'Sullivan is comfortable in there, but so is Hall. None of them are really getting each other out of the comfort zone. They like throwing the shots. That's a good shot from O'Sullivan, though.
I like the look of O'Sullivan. He's fighting with confidence. Hall, as ever, comes boring in, and he always looks as though he's on top. There's another good right hand again from O'Sullivan, and good sharpness about some of these shots.
Yeah, there is, and just as I say, a round's edging one way, the other opponent, the other kid comes round and starts turning it round again.
Well, that's another good round, another good competitive round, and not a lot between them. O'Sullivan coming on stronger in the closing stages. Hall coming in, trying to fight at close quarters as ever, and O'Sullivan happy to respond with some good, solid shots. One of 6 kids, Gary O'Sullivan, comes from a real fighting family, and there in the other corner there, Matthew Hall. Here's some of the action from the second round.
Hall was doing well, he just, a little bit out of range. He was doing well for the first half of the fight for me, the first half of the round. And then O'Sullivan sort of come on strong towards the end. He landed some nice shots, some nice sneaky uppercuts inside Matthew Hall, and all the footage we've got is really of him missing with a big shot. When they were coming out to some exchanges, Matthew Hall was having a bit of success with his right uppercut and the short range shots, which that's what'll suit Matthew Hall down to the ground because of his build and his height and the way he fights as well. He'll want to be up close, he'll want the phone box stuff. Whereas O'Sullivan, he's happily obliged, and as you said yourself, he's looking comfortable.
Michael Collins also in that corner. If Steve's here somewhere, he usually makes it down here, doesn't he? Michael Collins used to be a real party animal. Told me when I saw him last year, quite proudly said, "I've not touched a drop in years."
Steve used to have a bevy as well, didn't he? I've seen Steve having a few Guinnesses and enjoying himself after he'd finished the boxing. With this as well, John, just the more I think about it, Hall is really only a light middleweight. This is a middleweight fight.
That's right.
And
O'Sullivan, he said that he sees his future as a light middleweight as well. And to some extent, maybe fighting a bigger lump here, a little bit of a risk.
Exactly, and we're wondering why O'Sullivan is looking comfortable and letting Matthew Hall tee off and trying to stay tight and trying to absorb what he's doing and let him punch himself out. He's a natural middleweight, and he is a big kid.
That's the fight coming up next. Liam Walsh against Dominic Urbano. That's for the vacant European Super Flyweight title. Another 12-rounder prior to the main event. Well, Hall was quite straightforward about it, wasn't he? I asked him about what it meant to him fighting on a big bill like this, and he said, yeah, great. But he said, I need a payday for the family. That's what it's about.
Of course, and listen, that's what we're all in it for. And any boxer that tells you he's not in it for the money, they're telling you lies. We all need to earn a pound note, and this is what we do best: fighting and getting in there and boxing. It's what most of us have done since we were kids, and it's how we earn our bread.
Good work in at close quarters by Hall. He's having to absorb a few as he gets in range. O'Sullivan has got a bit of power. He beat Ryan Clark, who's a good, durable sort of journeyman. Did him in a round. One of 6 kids, comes from a fighting family. And then preparing hard over in Dublin. It's a nice body shot from Hall. Good left hand.
He's always been able to whip that left hook to the body in perfect. He throws it great, gets lovely leverage in it. Good power.
Lost his way once or twice in his boxing career, Matthew. Got beaten in a round by Martin Conception, remember that one? And then he got kind of out-thought in a way by Anthony Small. Lucas Konechny beat him. And then there was that almost inexplicable defeat against Alexei Rybachev. And at that point, I think few people thought that he'd continue, but he went back to the drawing board, found out there are a few medical problems, and he's dug deep and he's still in there pitching.
Yeah, I can't say enough about Matthew, and everyone that knows him, that's seen him fight over the years will say the same. You get 100% off him every time he gets in the ring, and he wears his heart on his sleeve.
Well, I thought the second round was a close one. I thought O'Sullivan had his moments, but Hall's aggression there reaped dividends.
It did. I gave the first to Hall, I scored the second even, and the third then I had to sort of give it to Sullivan just for the work in the early of the round. The earlier part of the round, he had the better work and the better success, and he's sucking up nicely.
So you got it level then at this point, yeah?
Yeah, one each and one shared.
All the time. Stadium is starting to fill up. We're told that the crowd could be more than 30,000 tonight, and I tell you what, great to see a guest appearance by a setting sun and blue skies overhead.
Yeah.
Not seen that in weeks.
You know, we were panicking on the way down, thinking about the weather, you know, wondering whether it'd be raining and whether the skies would open, but it turned out lovely.
So into the fourth round of this 12-rounder for the vacant WBO European middleweight title. Matthew Hall from Manchester against Gary O'Sullivan, the Irishman. O'Sullivan, bald-headed with the moustache, the green shorts. And on Paul Smith's card, absolutely level at the moment. Nice fast hands again from O'Sullivan. It was like a match day when we drove down earlier on. All the fans on the pavements outside the old Berlin pub outside the ground.
Yeah, it was great. I've got bad memories of this place. The only time I came to watch was my team getting beat by West Ham. So
yeah, as a Sheffield United fan, I'm not exactly in love with them either. Moving swiftly on.
Oh, lovely shot. Nice left hook from Matthew Hall. Slipped inside, fast let a nice left hook go. Landed flush.
There's a very good relationship with Anthony Farnell, Matthew Hall. They do work well together as a trainer-fighter combination.
He seems to be that way with all his fighters, Anthony. He gets close with them all, and he has a good relationship with every one of them, and it's nice to see.
Well, I guess it's absolutely vital for any trainer, isn't it, to understand what makes your man tick. Some people respond to the old rollicking.
Yeah.
Some people need the arm round the shoulder.
100%. I think they were talking about that last night on the actual build-up to this fight about Derek Chisora, and you know, not many people needed a rollicking. Sometimes they need to be thrown a few little sweets and a few bouquets at them, and just depends on the kid, and you as a trainer, that's your job to find that out.
All managing to maintain a pretty good intensity about his work at the moment.
He's having a bit more success this round as well. For me, you know, he turned that last round straight around the way he was. He caught a lovely left hook, and he's been having the more success.
O'Sullivan talks about wanting to get through and fight for a world title somewhere down the line. Well, if he's going to succeed in that, he's going to have to see off Matthew Hall, who is proving a tough opponent at the moment, and showing that he's a little bit harder to hit than some people imagine, as he just ducks and weaves there in the few seconds before the bell.
It was a good round, John. Good round for Matthew Hall, and you know, just easing into it now. He's in full flow. That was that left hook again. It was a nice, lovely slip inside. Let it go straight away, and it landed flush.
Made O'Sullivan blink a bit, didn't it? And from another angle, ouch.
Lovely. You know, boxing's all about inches. 5 inches lower, that's going to ask questions of his chin straight away. You know, it landed right on the eye socket. There's the elusiveness you were talking about, getting out the way. He's having nice success with the uppercuts and the short shots when he's in there, but he's just not in there long enough.
Here's Anthony Farnell with Matthew Hall. It's a veteran fight figure, Jim Evans, helping in that corner as well. Nice to see him.
Yeah, it is. He's the master of prize fighter, isn't he?
Been with Michael Sprott for so long, hasn't he?
Yeah. He's had, I think he's had 2 winners, and everyone keeps asking him his methods about training on what's the best format and the best way to train for winning it.
So 5th round. Matthew Hall with his back to us now, just edging ahead maybe by winning that last round.
Yep, for me, and he seems to be settling in. O'Sullivan isn't looking as comfortable as he was at the start now, for me, and he's starting to, you know, show signs that he's actually got to work to get this win. It looked to me like he was either A, you know, absorbing what Hall had in the hope of coming on strong late, or B, just a bit also a bit starstruck, you know, and from the show, you know, a little bit nervous, just smirking all the time and trying to let Hall tee off.
Well, he's never been beaten, and 8 of his wins have come inside 3 rounds, Gary O'Sullivan. He's only in his 15th contest here, and he's been relatively inactive. He's only had 4 fights in the last, well, since the end of 2009, so maybe just a little bit of rust in there, I don't know. Paul was with Brian Hughes, of course, for many a year before making the switch to Anthony Farnell. Had Pat Barrett working with him as well for a while. He was also a long time associated with the Brian Hughes gym. That's a nice uppercut from O'Sullivan.
Yeah, it's good work, good little base from O'Sullivan. I've been trying to say, you know, the poker face and the smirk seems to have gone from O'Sullivan now, and he's down to business. He knows he's in a fight, and he knows he's maybe just slipping behind.
Paul just keeps on coming. It's a nice shot over the top.
There's a cut now opened up from that clash of heads, just over Matthew Hall's left eye.
Definitely heads that did it, was it?
Definitely heads, I think. Referee's just had a little word with O'Sullivan then for it, but there's definitely blood over the left eye.
They have to go to work in that corner. Try and get a closer look at that between rounds. Let's see if we can see how bad the damage is. Let's have a look. It's got a bit of blood there. I don't think it doesn't look too bad to me, Paul.
No, I was going to say, John, it didn't seem bad at all. You just heard Anthony Farnell saying it's on the top of his eye, but you can't really. No, it's just a little nick. It's not even bleeding much. I think that was it. Then just a little graze. Wasn't necessarily coming together.
Nothing serious, is it?
No.
I think Hall did enough to win that round.
Yeah, did. I gave him that round again. He's just having a lot more success now, and the eye-catching shots are coming from Matthew Hall. But again, I think O'Sullivan is starting to realise now he's in a fight. It's not going to be as easy as he probably thought it was when he came out for the first 2 rounds. He had the smirk on his face. He was letting Matthew Hall lead off, tee off when he came inside, and he looked pretty comfortable, to be fair. But it's all changed now.
Second round, round 6.
So moving into the 6th round. Gary O'Sullivan, the undefeated Irishman, on our cards at ringside anyway, just being edged out at the moment by Matthew Hall. Really do with a win, Hall here. It invigorates his career, give him just a burst of confidence again. He's lost 3 of his last 4, I think, hasn't he?
Definitely, and listen, it'll pull him right back in the mix. The light middleweight's a good division. The division, sorry, is a good division in the country. And Brian Rose is up there, Sam Webb, and a lot of good prospects coming through. So a win will put Matthew right back up there.
Well, you'd absolutely pay money to see him fight Sam Webb again.
Definitely.
Don't doubt Sam will be watching, as many fighters and those associated with the game will be tonight. Huge interest around this bill. Hall hasn't struggled with the power of O'Sullivan really so far.
No, and to be fair, O'Sullivan hasn't either. And the thing with Hall, you know, this might be, he's fighting a bigger fella, but he won't have had to bother at all to make any weight last night. He weighed in 11 stone 4. and will obviously do middleweight comfortable, being a proper light middleweight. But the naturally bigger man is O'Sullivan.
And he's landing a few more punches in this round, O'Sullivan.
Yeah, he is.
Some supporters over there on the far side of the ring, and they're getting a bit more enthused about what he's doing. No trouble with that injury around the eye of Hall. I think, as you say, it was really no more than a graze.
Yeah.
Trademark body shot from Hall again.
He throws it lovely. It'd be nice to see him throw a little left uppercut right after it. You know, he's always going for the body, and it's always a single. And with him finishing on it all the time, O'Sullivan will know it's only going to be a single. Just put one more on it, up the top. Good right hand
from O'Sullivan, and the body shot. And then back came Hall with a decent right hand of his own. Well, it's the place to be for celebrities, for the rich and famous tonight. There's somebody who's been on our screens recently. Mr. Murray, good evening. Is that Gary McAllister alongside him? Two Scots together. There are a few boos around the crowd, I can't believe it.
It's unfair, that, isn't it?
He likes England, really.
Yeah.
Right, here's some of the action. There's that right hand from Gary O'Sullivan. That was a good one. And a little smile of recognition from Hall as well.
Yeah, good shot, landed flush. Hall's legs seemed fine, you know, he gave him a little smirk of recognition. Maybe, you know, Hall, maybe it didn't hit Hall, and what he wanted to try and say is, you know, it really was not Hall. Maybe it did, and you just acknowledge them shots when you're in there anyway.
You give that round to the Irishman, to Gary O'Sullivan?
I did, just a bit of clean away.
So that means you've given him 2, and Matthew Hall 3, and 1 level.
Yep.
Hugely disagree with that. Halfway stage, it's certainly close. I thought Andy Murray said after Wimbledon that he was going to go off and find the sun somewhere. He must have known that it was going to come out here.
I was just going to say, he's going to come to sunny Upton Park instead. He's a boxing fan.
Yeah, he does. He likes his boxing.
He makes no secret of the fact that he's a boxing fan. And no, it's apart from obviously I'm being biased and saying our sport's a lot harder, but it's a tough game what they're in themselves. It's one-on-one, and it's very competitive.
Well, he gave it a tremendous go, didn't he?
He did.
And there's still the Olympics to come.
It is, and I'll be looking forward to watching those myself to see how many golds you can get in the boxing.
Could be a fair few. I've seen predictions of, that's a nice sweet right hand from O'Sullivan. Seen predictions of as many as 6 or 7 medals from the team. It'd be good if that came to fruition.
It will, and it's good for our game as a whole, amateur and professional, because every one of those kids will end up in the professional side of things, and success breeds success. If you've got a good amateur team, then the amateur team is going to keep producing more amateurs, and they're eventually going to be professionals. So it's just a big long conveyor belt.
O'Sullivan with a little protest to the referee. You're not sure whether he thought that a couple had gone low or whether he thought that Hall was coming in with his head, but when a fighter turns and gives the little moan to the ref, sometimes suggests maybe that he's feeling the pace.
Yeah, he took 1 or 2 low blows in the second round and the third round and didn't bat an eyelid, so the fact that he's doing it now may tell you something.
Well, when the fight began, we said this was likely to be a tight one, and it's anybody's fight at this stage.
Been very, very close rounds, most of them, haven't they, John, and difficult to score.
O'Sullivan being told off for the backhand, not allowed, or the attempted backhand, I should say. O'Sullivan just looking a little bit wearier, maybe the snap just going out of the work a little.
He is, and Matthew Hall, to be fair, isn't looking too, you know, what he was 3 rounds ago, but the second wind will kick in soon for both fighters, and eventually they'll be back. Strange how it works out in there, John, and you start feeling tired, and all of a sudden your second wind will kick in, you've got a new lease of life.
One little bit of success, one good solid shot can make somebody feel an awful lot better, and a few well-chosen words in the corner, and both of them go back now after another hard round.
Definitely. Difficult one to score as well, John.
Here's the action from that 6th round. 7th round, I beg your pardon. And not too much between them. It's a nice left hand from Hall. Beaten to the punch that time by O'Sullivan.
It's good work, and it really is difficult to split in that round. I've had to give it even.
Corners, 10 seconds. Seconds out. Round 8.
Stop boxing. Take time.
Now what's this about? Paul Thomas trying to straighten them up a bit.
Yeah. He's trying to make them make friends, I think, before they go in and beat each other up. He was just asking them to tidy it up a little bit.
It's good from O'Sullivan. Nice flurry. And then the solid body shot from Hall. It's that sort of fight.
Yep, Hall every now and then comes in, has a little flurry, stands out, and then leaps in with a big stiff jab, and it's landed every time he's thrown it against O'Sullivan, whether it's been to the head or to the chest. Every now and then he'll come out today and he'll just lunge in with a big stiff jab, and then the attack comes off it.
This is good from Hall, having a better round. El Torito, they used to call him, the little bull.
Yeah. He used to have it on his shorts as well. He used to only wear black shorts.
Of course, that was like you-know-who,
Yeah.
Mr. Tyson.
Matthew Hall used to look, he's one of the most menacing looking fighters you'll see, but he's such a lovely lad. When you get to speak to him, you think he was a different person when he was in the ring.
The impression that Hall's getting the better of this round.
I think O'Sullivan's landing with some good shots, though. You can see the blood starting to come from Matthew Hall's nose just a bit. The mouth started to drop a bit, and the energy seems to have just zapped out of him a little bit in the last 20 seconds, John.
Well, those are all missing. And there's a good body shot.
Yeah.
Plenty of Irish fans as well watching tonight, I'm sure.
Good defence from Hall.
Well, it's another tight round. I'm glad you're the one scoring these.
I bet you that. It's been one of them fights, Sean, hasn't it? The rounds are really tough to score, and
well, for what it's worth, I edged towards Matthew Hall for that one because he had the better of the first couple of minutes.
It's not often we disagree, is it? But I think I think I'm going to just for this once, just to stand by. I may be wrong.
Okay.
But I'm going to edge to Sullivan that round and go against you for the change.
Well, in that case, you've now got it by level indeed.
Yeah.
2 level rounds, so 3 apiece and 2 level.
I shouldn't score level rounds. I don't like people doing it, but sometimes you just literally can't split them.
Score it how you see it.
Yeah, exactly.
Many a time you see people infuriated by people trying to second-guess judges and not call it how you see it.
And
That's how you see it, that's it.
Yeah, sometimes it's unfair being criticised for your card. It's just your opinion, and boxing will always, for as long as it goes on, be like that, because there's never going to be a different way to do it. It's about your opinion and another man's opinion.
So 9th round. Remember, the WBO European title is at stake here, middleweight. Undefeated Gary O'Sullivan of Ireland, if you're just joining us, on the far side with the formidable moustache, against Manchester's Matthew Hall, tonight in his 30th professional fight. And it's close. Been 12 rounds on 4 occasions, Matthew. O'Sullivan never has, so that might be to Hall's favour, who knows?
Remember last time, John, when he fought in the Albert Hall and he thought the fight was a 10-rounder, you know, and he said to him at the end of 10, no, what are you doing? You got 2 more left, and he just shrugged his shoulders, sat down, and okay, no moaning, no nothing, just got on with it. That's what I like about Matthew Hall.
Yeah, no histrionics. It's what I do for a living. He doesn't go in there and dislike his opponents. It's a job.
Yeah, exactly.
And at his best was good enough to have won the Commonwealth light middleweight title. That's a nice right hand from O'Sullivan. It just bounces off Hall, who just keeps on coming.
Watch the edge, guys. Watch those edges. I'm telling you.
Both of them landing decent shots.
It's entertaining, John. It's good to watch this. You know, you can see them both going forward, and you know, both of them are starting to feel the pace. They're starting to take a few shots themselves, but they're still coming forward and still meeting head on, right in the middle. Some decent shots being landed this round from both fighters as well.
We're going to have that dispute again at the end of it, aren't we?
Yeah, hurtful shots as well. Some of the body shots that have gone in, you know, you're really wincing looking at them.
O'Sullivan just looking across to his corner to see if he can get any sort of encouragement, any sort of advice. Pascal Collins looking pretty much poker-faced. Both of them thudding away with those body shots and landing simultaneously right on the bell with yet another tight round.
Very, very close round again, but I don't know what way you're going, but I'm going to Matthew Hall.
Correct, we agree.
Keeps going again. Matthew's right hand.
This is Anthony Farnell. Matthew Hall. That was good work from O'Sullivan.
Hall's defence is what's been helping him shade the rounds for me as well. You know, he's not taking too much clean, and a lot of it is on the gloves and elbows what he does.
Round 10.
Couple that with the good head movement that he's got as well, he gets out the way of a lot of shots.
I'll tell you what, if Matthew Hall comes up short again, or if he's on the wrong end of a split decision once more, he'll start to think that the boxing gods are against him.
Yeah. It's unfair because the way he fights, he's exciting, he comes forward all the time, and he's always going to be in good fights, but unfortunately for him, the good close fights.
Tenth round. Less than 3 rounds to go. Somewhere behind the scenes, David Hay and Derek Chisora now making preparations for the main event coming up later on. Due to make their ring walks round about 9:45. Thomas hasn't had a great deal to do, allowing the action to flow.
Yeah. He's going to do it to you now and stop it, just as you say, for the tape on Sullivan's glove.
Yeah, right hand.
Paul Thomas is probably just like us though, and enjoying the action as it's going on and not wanting to stop it.
Very well respected referee and official for many a year, also a great boxing fan. Nice body shot from O'Sullivan. That's got the appreciation of his corner. All being implored by Anthony Farnell to push O'Sullivan onto the back foot, be the aggressor. Both of them got loose binding now around the gloves.
Yeah, you saw Anthony Farnell fixing the binding on Matthew Hall's left hand before, in between those rounds, and I think it's starting to come loose again.
Allowed to work away out of the clinch. Good body shots from Hall.
With Matthew Hall as well, he steps out now and then, and he has a big puff and puff of air and a big gulp, and he was doing it from round 3 and he looks like he's tired, but he just keeps coming and keeps coming and keeps coming. He's got one of them honest faces, you know, when he's tired he tells you, when he's starting to breathe he tells you, but he'll look like that, but he'll do 12 rounds all night.
Here we are in the O'Sullivan corner.
Give us the eyes. Now, you're not doing what I asked to do. They're letting you fight in this fight and he's pushing the ropes again.
Listen to him.
No, I'm telling you now, right, don't turn around to after this fight and lose it and say, I should have done this, should have. You've got 2 rounds to change it. You've got 2 rounds to change it. When he tries getting close to try let him do, you can get this fight but win the last 2 rounds. On your bike and beat. Okay? I want you to beat with a punch every time. Okay? I'm telling you, 2 rounds.
That's the way we're seeing it as well. O'Sullivan needs to win these last 2 rounds if he's going to take this fight.
Yeah, for me, if he gets these last 2 rounds, he'll have a draw. I've got Matthew Hall by 2 rounds. But his corner's right, O'Sullivan's corner's right. You know, Mr. Collins, Pascal Collins, is saying the same thing. He's starting to lose interest, and the fight's slipping away from him.
Hall keeps chugging forward, wanting to get onto the front foot, and in that last round he was making it his fight.
And what you said earlier, John, as well about O'Sullivan not going a distance, that'll be working on his mind now, which Matthew Hall is 100% confident and knows he can do it because he's done it many times before.
How much of a psychological barrier is that to a fighter when you first go in there and have to go 12 rounds for the first time?
It is a barrier, and I know a lot of fighters are different, but there's got, you know, you'd have to be a complete nut job if it didn't affect you when the first time you ever did a 12-round fight and you think that you could go into the 12th. I remember standing up for my first 12 rounds at round 9, sorry, I'd done 8 and I thought, you know what, I'll do this easy, and I knew I had it in me, and the minute I relaxed, I knocked the kids out and I never went to 12 anyway, and I was trying too hard. But once you do 6, you can do 8, once you do 8, you can do 12. That's my opinion anyway, and I think a lot of fighters will agree.
Well, Gary O'Sullivan in the 11th here for the first time in his career. He certainly upped his work rate in the first half of this 11th. But whether he's doing enough is a moot point.
O'Sullivan should try and mix it up a little bit more to the head and body, you know, with his jab as well. Matthew Hall brings his elbows up a lot to the top to block his head shots, and when they come up, the body is open, but you've got to go there and make Matthew Hall raise his hands up, feint to the top, feint down, and then come over and try and break them up. So far, he hasn't done nothing Matthew Hall hasn't seen before, and it's shown because he's not in the fight.
Some of these rounds have been close, though, particularly early on. You gave a couple level.
Of course, yeah.
And it's a sort of fight where you might get widely varying interpretations from the three judges.
Exactly. Who'd want to be a judge or a commentator? The key factor for me, though, in this, John, and before the round ends and he doesn't make a line out to me, is the fact that Matthew Hall is only a light middleweight and O'Sullivan's a big middleweight, and the boss in the fight for me has been Matthew Hall. He's the one doing all the aggressive work. He's the one pushing forward. He's the stronger of the two inside the clinches. O'Sullivan seems to be a bit of a puncher, but he hasn't manned himself properly tonight. You know, he hasn't really been in there to push back and to go and to boss the fight. And for a middleweight, a natural middleweight against a light middleweight like Matthew Hall, it's wrong.
Tired when he went back to the corner, Gary O'Sullivan, and looking to his corner man as much as to say, did I do enough? And here's Matthew Hall on our cards. He's ahead. Here's Anthony Farnell speaking.
Big fucking punch in middleweight. You're showing him. Come on.
Punch him on now, what? The hand's working.
Working fucking over. He's working. The only tactic he's got to use now, right, is hands up, chin down, and work the fuck up. Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Easy, mate. Poison at you. That's your game, come on.
Telling him in no uncertain terms, just trying to G him up for these last 3 minutes.
Yeah, he's got it in him. He's a fit and game lad, you know, and he's a strong and tough lad as well. When it's getting hard, he's always bit down in the past. And for me, Farnell, you know, I didn't use the language Farnell used, but as he said, you know, big punch in middleweight, it's not really taking a toll, because Matthew is only a light middleweight and he's been the boss tonight. For me, anyway, in my opinion.
Last round, and certainly Gary O'Sullivan. Spike, you can see on the shorts. He's going to need a big last round if he's going to deny Matthew Hall. And the way we're seeing it anyway is looking as though he's on the way to winning this middleweight contest for the WBO European crown. O'Sullivan up on his toes a bit more now. Perhaps if he'd done a bit more of that earlier on, it might have been a different story.
Yeah, he's just come out and tried to meet Matthew Hall. Maybe he's had it in his head. He is a big puncher middleweight, and Matthew Hall is a light middleweight. Maybe he has just tried to come out and boss the fight and stand and meet him head on. But Matthew Hall's a strong light middleweight, and he's a strong lad with a good work rate as well. And he's had more of the success tonight.
O'Sullivan trying to keep it long, trying to win this round on the move. He's having more success.
Nice shot.
Body shot from Hall. Hall's only been able to land that one real big left hand so far in this round. Both of them tired. Good work for O'Sullivan.
Yeah. Hall's just got to keep it tight, and O'Sullivan, in my opinion, needs to find a big shot to take Hall out.
See O'Sullivan up on his toes fighting like this here in this last round. It kind of begs the question, why didn't he do it earlier? That's a nice left hand from Hall.
And his trainer will be saying to me, look at the energy he had in the 12th. For me, he switched off from 8, 9, 10, 11, he wasn't there. They were Hall rounds, and Hall took over. The lovely left hook again from Hall. He's landing now. For me, on this fight, he's level after 8, but he's lost the fight in the last 4 rounds, when it really matters in a title fight, and that's where Hall's got the experience.
Well, this will mean a lot to Matthew Hall if he has come back and got this verdict. Having experienced a real bitter defeat against Sam Webb at the Royal Albert Hall on that big show in April. But it's going to all depend what the judges see. Hall finishing right in the face of O'Sullivan. Big shots by both men.
Good
O'Sullivan might have done enough to have edged that last one. I don't know.
I gave it to Matthew, sorry. But for me, you know, sheer grit and determination which has got him through that. And as you say, the disappointment of the previous fights, for me, I've given it to Matthew Hall by 4 rounds. But as you say, you never know. With the judges especially, you'll never know.
Well, I thought O'Sullivan landed more punches in that last round. That was the way I was looking at it. Okay, Hall was landing maybe bigger shots.
Yeah, for me, O'Sullivan was landing more shots, but only compared to what he was landing in the previous 3 rounds, which was very little. So I understand where you're coming from.
Well, Gary O'Sullivan's being carried around the ring as though he's the winner. If he is, well, it's slightly at odds with the way we saw it, but you never know. A lot of the rounds were close, and an anxious wait for both men. Anthony Farnell came across and looked at us and said, "How have you got it? How have you scored it?" And I said, "Well, as far as we reckon that Matthew's done enough."
Yeah.
Judges' cards are being tallied. Must make you wonder a little bit when you're in there and you see your opponent being chaired around the ring by the cornerman as though he's produced the best win of his career, which, in all fairness, if he does win this, it is the best win of his career.
Yeah, it is, and what makes me laugh is the way we all do it. You know, you're told to do it, you've got to celebrate like mad at the end of the 12th as if it's going to actually matter, you know, and as if you can change the judges' scorecards for the previous 12 rounds.
There's no question that Hall came on strong in the second half of that fight. Few bumps and bruises on both men. Hard fight, tough fight.
It was a tough fight. Both of them gamers in it and met heads on most of the time and got stuck right in. And what you see is what you get from Matthew Hall. I think he's done enough to take this.
Well, that's how Paul Smith scores it. Let's see how the judges score it. Mark Burdis is now poised to give the verdict.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 12 rounds of boxing, we go to the scorecard. We have a unanimous decision. Judge Mickey Van scores the contest 117 to 111. Judge John Coyle 115 to 114. Judge Zoltan Enyidi 117 to 111. The winner and the new WBO International Middleweight Champion, in the red corner, from Cork in the Republic of Ireland, Gary O'Sullivan.
O'Sullivan celebrates, and those close rounds have gone in the O'Sullivan direction by 6 rounds on 2 cards, 115, 114 on the card of John Coyle. That was closer to where I had it. 117, 111, frankly, I'm a wee bit surprised about that one.
I am myself, and I was sitting thinking, well, you know, those 111s were maybe where I gave the shade rounds, but the 117s were right. I had it 117, 113 to Matthew Hall.
Well, there you are.
I can't see that one.
It's a subjective game, but Gary O'Sullivan keeps the unbeaten record going. The man from Cork makes it 15 out of 15.